just how fragile is Joe Biden's early lead? Joining me now, MSNBC national political correspondent Steve Kornacki, Washington Post senior political reporter Aaron Blake, former senior advisor for Hillary Clinton's campaign and MSNBC contributor Adrian Elrod, and Republican strategist and former aide to Jeb Bush and Mitt Romney, Matt Gorman. Thank you all for being here. Steve, let me start with you. We've got a tweet from Biden's pollster, and I'm hearing in my ear, too, that we have new numbers from the Quinnipiac poll that similarly show a pretty difficult past week for Joe Biden. I think we're going to try to get those up on the screen as soon as we can.
We got them right.
Steve,
yeah, we should have them right here.
Here you go. Great. Take it away.
These are out in the last 30 seconds. Here it is. Quinnipiac poll, national, Democrats, post-debate. Joe Biden, we saw him in yesterday's poll from CNN at 22%. You were mentioning Biden's campaign taking issue with that. Here's another national poll. Biden at 22% after this debate. Kamala Harris surging to second place, 20%, within 2 points of the former vice president. Elizabeth Warren, 14%. We saw her around there in that poll as well. Sanders, 13%. Buttigieg, 4%. Casey, this looks almost exactly like that CNN poll yesterday. So now we have had two multi-day polls that have come back since that debate. I should say there was a third. There was a Harris X poll earlier today that was more favorable to the former vice president. But you have Quinnipiac and you have CNN now within 24 hours of each other, both showing a steep drop for Joe Biden, a steep rise for Kamala Harris, and a Democratic race that looks very different now than it did. But this is the CNN poll from yesterday, than it did before this debate.
Steve, how much credit do you give to this critique from a Biden advisor who had tweeted, hey, this is a holiday week. People are already tend not to pick up their phones. Perhaps this is not necessarily the best read. I mean, is there anything to that?
Well, I mean, look, the answer is we'll see. There'll be more polls. Let's see if it changes. But here's what I can tell you. We've seen since that debate ended. There was polling that was conducted jointly by Morning Consult and 538 right after that second debate, and they showed a drop for Joe Biden. Right after, I should say, that first and second night of debating, that showed a drop for Joe Biden. Morning Consult conducted its own poll in the 24-hour period from the end of that debate Thursday night that Biden was in until the end of Friday night, sort of a snap poll, 24-hour period. They showed a drop of 5 points there for Biden, a rise of 6 points for Kamala Harris. Yesterday, as we said, CNN came in with their poll conducted over the weekend, showed this drop for Biden, this rise for Harris. Here now, again, just in the last 2 minutes, Quinnipiac, you can see here, there's extended to yesterday, July 1st. Again, steep drop for Biden, steep rise for Kamala Harris. You're getting to the point here where there's a preponderance of evidence that this was a bad week for the former vice president and a very good week for Kamala Harris. That doesn't mean it's the end of anything. It's July, but I think we've seen a couple of developments here.
Yeah, for sure. Great points all, Steve. Matt Gorman, if you're the Biden campaign, how nervous are you about these numbers?
Well, if I'm the Biden campaign, I'm also looking at the numbers among African-American voters. If you look a little deeper in that CNN poll, his numbers slipped significantly among them. Kamala is now in second. His path to the nomination runs through African-American voters, especially in South Carolina. And if you look at two of the biggest moments from the last debate, Mayor Pete talking about the South Bend shooting and obviously Kamala's attack on him, were both geared towards African-American voters. And so I'm looking at that if I'm them, and I don't think this is, a bigger problem for him long term, but it's like that old movie from the Predator. If it bleeds, you can kill it. Well, I think that he's given his opponents a template into how they can defeat him in the months to come.
I'm interested to know how many of our viewers are also Predator fans. I have to admit I am not one of them. But
just
Aaron.
adding another point to what Matt said, the problem with some of these polls is that the sample sizes, especially for some of these crosstabs, are so small. We don't know how many African Americans were actually sampled. And here it's generally more productive to look at the non-white sample because that's a little bit bigger. One question, though, in the CNN poll in particular caught my attention, and that was it asked which candidate did voters think was going to be best on race relations, the issue of race relations. On that question, Kamala Harris led Joe Biden by 29-16, even though she was behind in the broader poll. So I think that, even as we maybe need some more evidence to suggest that the Biden campaign has lost its high level of support among black voters, I think that's a good indication of there may be some hemorrhaging as far as that support goes.
Adrian, I mean, it seems like one thing, the Biden campaign has been relying on what they have long viewed as a deep relationship with the African-American community, with its leaders, his non-busing related record on civil rights, but you've seen people like Jim Clyburn defending him. Is there a risk that what has been the bedrock of the African American voting community slips away from him if he sort of doesn't get this narrative back under control?
Yeah, I think so, Casey. And, there's just because, and we all know this here, just because you're African American doesn't mean that it's a monolithic vote, right? So there's, you've got young African Americans, you've got older African Americans. So I'm more interested to see where his numbers go with younger African American voters. And I think that's always been a point for him, that it's not, his support among those voters has not always been as strong as it has been for older African American voters, which is why you also saw some of the CBC leadership come out and defend him. But
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.